Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Thursday the 17th of March 2022. In today's Millwall news, quite sad story to begin the video with. It's Paul Jiggins has passed away. This is from millwallfc.co.uk, and let's just read this. Millwall Football Club is deeply saddened to learn of the tragic passing of a dear friend and colleague, Paul Jiggins, aged 50. Paul, a lifelong Lions fan, has had a long and distinguished career in football journalism, most notably with the Sun newspaper. Since 2020, Paul has formed part of the club's podcast series Wall Talk, endearing himself even further to fellow supporters with his outstanding club knowledge, experiences of following Millwall home and away since childhood, and his remarkable quick wit and sense of humour. His contribution to the club stretched way beyond the above, however, as throughout his career Paul used every opportunity at his disposal to champion the club's name, showcasing the many charitable and community initiatives carried out by supporters and staff to readers of his newspaper, fellow journalists, and anyone else fortunate enough to have known him. As a mark of respect, the team will wear black armbands during Saturday's match at Stoke City and also the next home game against Swansea City, before which there will be a minute of applause so that the supporters can join together in remembering one of the Millwall family in a long-lasting tribute. The Den's Press Lounge will be renamed the Paul Jiggins Media Suite. Rest in peace, Paul. We will miss you. So, if you don't know who Paul Jiggins is, he's was a red-headed chap, and he's he was Sun newspaper journalist, and he was on TalkSport quite regularly, especially on the Hawksby and Jacobs show. You may have heard him on that, and yeah, quite a shock. And just looking through a few things, I found this from the Football Writers Association. It's a Q&A with Paul Jiggins from many years ago, from 2013. But let's just have a little look here. So they're just asking him about how he got into it and stuff. I'm not going to read it all, but most memorable match. I'm getting to the age where they've all merged into one. It's certainly not any match in the Champions League, most overhyped and boring competition in the world, summed up by its blooming, annoying operatic theme tune. I would have to say Millwall 2, Norwich 3. Sunday, January 22nd, 1989. And I didn't even have to check the date. It was Millwall's first season in the top flight and first ever game live on TV, despite being a season ticket holder. Alongside me, my dad opted to watch the game from the comfort of his favourite armchair because he had never watched his beloved Lions on the telly before and wanted to experience what it felt like. Millwall fought back from 2-0 down to make it 2-2 and absolutely battered the Canaries before Rowett flicks. A spectacular late scissor kick won the game for the visitors. Straight after the game, I went to watch Big Country in concert at the Hammersmith Odeon. When I got home later that night, Mum was still up and she disclosed that Dad was so proud of the way that Millwall had played that she had caught him wiping away tears from his eyes. An image and a match made all the more poignant by the fact that it was one of the last matches he ever witnessed, as a few months later he died, leaving me the greatest gift a son could ask for, a love of football. So, yeah, that's in 1989. So his own father passed away in 1989. If we go back, and you can see here 1972, so when Paul was just a teenager, his own father died in the middle of Mill's season in the top flight. There you go. That's yeah. The one moment in football you would put on a DVD. Jamie Morley's goal for Millwall at West Ham after just 35 seconds in March 1993, in front of me and 6,499 fellow delirious fans sardine on Upton Park South Bank Terrace. Can you believe that? Back in the day, they let 6,500 Millwall fans go to Upton Park. Insane. Best stadium, the original Den. It's now in a housing state, so I'll go for the Emirates, which sleeps even more. The worst, Selhurst Park. It's at least 3 hours from everywhere, even Croydon, and they make the turnstile for journalists smaller every season. Best ever player, Dave Cusack, my all-time Millwall hero, and now occasional drinking partner. They say you should never meet your heroes, and my liver would vouch for that. Would be a multi-millionaire if you play today, legend. Best ever teams, Millwall 1984, and England 1990. With a bit more care, thought and luck, both could have conquered the world. And then it goes on about airports and stuff. But there you go. Your most prized football memorabilia. 2004 FA Cup final programs that are in my pants drawer. I bought 2 in case I lose one. Programs that is not pants. I've never read them fully, but every so often I take them out to make sure Millwall actually got there, and it wasn't a dream. Shame the players never turned up. Yeah, it was. There you go. Paul Jiggins interview with him. He's passed away, and it's quite sad. Now we're going to move on to some stories from the rest of the team. So, former Millwall boss sets points target he believes clinches championship P-word spot. P-word. Now, I'm not going to say the P-word. I'm going to use the phrase end of season tournament. Inspired by listening to Actor Mill's latest podcast, which he brought that up. I am not using the P word. I'm going to use end of season tournament. So, what's this about? This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. Former Millwall manager Neil Harris believes that his former club need to take 15 points from their final 9 matches to claim a end of season tournament place. The Lions made it 8 matches unbeaten, 6 of those victories as they turned over a Huddersfield Town side that were undefeated in 17 games, the longest unbeaten run in England's top 4 divisions, on Wednesday night. Harris, now Gillingham boss, was on punditry duty for Sky Sports, who televised the fixture. Speaking before last night's win, the former Lions striker said, "Fantastic run, isn't it? The Championship is such a tough league, so many competitive sides in there and good players. It's tough to win 3 in a row, let alone 5 in a row. Built off a solid foundation and goal scoring ability at the right moments, a lot of set plays. 54 points. They probably need 18 points from the last 10 games to get in there. It's a lot of points, but a win tonight will set them up really well for the running." Harris has praised Jed Wallace, who signed on Wolves from a permanent basis after initially taking the winger on loan. He's one of the best attacking players in the division, he said. He is so important to Millwall. He scores all sorts of goals, energy, vision, desire and experience at that level now. Left foot finishes, right foot finishes and deliveries from set plays. He can play in pockets and run beyond. He's done fantastic over the last 5 or 6 years. So there you go. We need to win 5 more, which is It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. Moving on to this from newsend.co.uk. Millwall boss on goal target of returning striker plus forward at doubt for Stoke City clash. Rowett says players returning from injury will put pressure on those in the side to keep their places, and the Millwall boss believes Tom Bradshaw will be determined to get into double figures. Rowett said that Bradshaw could return this weekend at Stoke City. The forward has scored 7 goals this season, all in an 11-game spell before he injured his knee in January. Bradshaw scored 10 goals in 1920, his best return for the Lions. Shea Yojo was back on the bench and Millwall defeated Huddersfield 2-0 at the Den on Wednesday night. If you look at the amount of games we have left, there are players who will be coming back determined to finish the season well, Rowett said. Tom Bradshaw scored 7 goals in 11 games. If he's coming back, there's no doubt someone like Bradders will be thinking, I want to get into double figures. So there's a real motivation for all those players coming back. That adds real motivation for the ones that want to stay in the team. It will also give us really good opportunities, not just to change the game within 90 minutes, but to rotate some of that energy into the team for certain games. If you've got 2 games in quick succession, it's always nice to be able to throw 2 or 3 fresh bodies in for that second game. Hopefully, we will be in a position to do that. Zach Lovelace is an injury doubt for the weekend, but Rowett was pleased to have Ojo available. Rowett said, I only wanted to use Ojo if I really needed him. We've got him back on the bench where he's available probably for 15 minutes. It's about as good as we can get at the moment. He's looked good in a couple of days of training, but that's all we've had. We're hoping that we might get Bradders back on the bench for the weekend, but again, he won't quite be match ready, so it's just about getting more bodies. Zach Lovelace got injured in the under-17s on Tuesday, so he was unavailable. I think one more game before the international break, we might get a body or 2 back on the bench, but certainly seeing those players coming back will give the players extra impetus. And I would imagine after the international break, we will have 3 or 4 back involved, and I think that issue will be put to bed. It will just be simply then, can we win games? And that's going to be the problem, isn't it? Because at the moment, a lot of people are saying, well, the reason for the winning run is that Carrera hasn't been able to mess with the team. The team picks itself. What's your first 11? Well, it's the fit for the players that are fit. There's no tinkering to be done by the manager. Now, when there are more than 11 players, then decision needs to be made who goes in the team and who stays out. And that might be our undoing. It could be. But we will see. So moving on now to this from newsend.co.uk. Mill boss breathes sigh of relief over defender as he avoids missing Stoke and Luton games. Mill boss Garrett was pleased he's been spared a major selection headache after Jake Cooper avoided a booking in a 2-0 win against Huddersfield Town at the Den on Wednesday night. On pitch, skipper Cooper was on 9 yellow cards ahead of the 37th league game of the season, and one more would have ruled him out of the next 2 games at Stoke City on Saturday and at Luton Town after the international break. Millwall are already without Sean Hutchinson and Ryan Lennon in defence. Benicophobe scored both goals against the Terriers but can't play against parent club Stoke at the weekend. Maybe that gave Afobe the extra effort today, knowing he wasn't available for that game. That's all you can do, Rowett said. Coops had to defend really well and time his challenges because another yellow card meant he would have missed 2 games. I'm not quite sure how he would have coped with that. He's been excellent. That means that boundary's been crossed and he will be available now. It's getting through the games, being as competitive he can, and getting a nice break in the international break is important. Now we're going to move on to this about George Saville. This is also from newsend.co.uk. Millwall boss expands on George Saville's changed role this season after idea behind Borough transfer. Millwall manager Garrett has expanded on the tactical shift in George Saville's role since the start of the season. Saville scored 10 goals from midfield in a 4-4-2 formation in 2017-18 before he moved to Middlesbrough that summer. Rowett was looking for a goal-scoring midfielder for this campaign, and the Lions brought Saville back to SE16 from Teesside. Millwall supporters might have expected Saville to return a similar number of goals this season, but he's only netted 2 in 32 appearances. Well, listen, if he carries on playing the way he played last night, yeah, it doesn't matter if he scores or not, because he was absolutely outstanding. Rowett's formation at the start of the campaign was 5-3-2, with Saville and George Evans either side of Mika Kuftenbeld in central midfield on the opening day at QPR. But the Lions have hit a superb run of form, playing 2 central midfielders and 3 attacking players in front of a back 5. Millwall have won 6 and drawn 2 of their last 8 games. Billy Mitchell's been a fixture in midfield. Saville missed a month through injury earlier this year, with Kuftenbeld coming in and playing brilliantly beside Mitchell. Saville then returned when Kuftenbeld was injured last month and excelled in a deeper role. Rowett was asked to explain Saville's current tactical responsibilities in the side after Wednesday's 2-0 win at home to Huddersfield. We started the season playing 3 in midfield because we felt that would be a good way of, rather than just one fixed striker, we would have 2 more joining in and have a little bit more flexibility about us, Rowett said. It was a formation we played towards the end of the last season and we had some good results with it. We felt this season signing Saville would have some goals from midfield. You're looking at different ways to score goals, but after the first 6 or 7 games, we just didn't play it with quite as much quality as I would like. So we ended up adding another attacking player. We ended up having the 2 midfielders in there, which changed Sav's role a little bit. I've almost stopped him from going forward as such. He's shown that different side, he's shown that discipline, that good quality on the ball, he's shown leadership in there, particularly this evening, and he'll get judged in a different way. If I had had another midfielder tonight, I might have gone back to a 3 in there and let him go a little bit and press, but he can only do what he's asked of, and I think he did really well tonight. Indeed, absolutely. And like I said, if he plays like that, I don't care if he scores or not, to be honest with you. He was absolutely outstanding, as well as Billy Mitchell, so long may that continue. So we're going to move on now to the stats from last night's game. And if you're not interested in that, thank you for watching. But if you are, let's crack on. So there's the match instances. We had 2 yellow cards, obviously, in the first half. Mason Bennett and Jed Wallace. Then we had a Phobie scoring in the first half, scoring in the second half. And there are the substitutions that were made. We don't have experimental 361's XG graphic because they haven't done it for the Wednesday night championship games yet. But if you look in the middle here where the red FT is, you can see the XG from this website is 2.69 Millwall to 0.6 for Huddersfield. That's an absolute trouncing. Suggests we should could have scored 3 goals. But it is what it is. So let's have a look at the XG map. These are the shots that we had that created an expected goal, numerical. And as you can see, we absolutely smashed them, peppered their goal with chances. A lot of these were like, because we had a number of situations where there was a shot that got saved, come back out, Millwall player passed it along, then we had another shot. So from each attack, we probably had about 2 or 3 shots on goal from a number of attacks, so including the goals that we scored. So we actually had our best chances we didn't score from. We've got this one here, that's Murray Wallace's one. I think that was the handball. There's Benik Phobie there. I think that was the one that hit the bar, hit the post, or maybe the bar. Benik Phobie there, and there's Benik Phobie there. But the ones that actually scored are that one and that one. So interesting. If you look here, these are Huddersfield chances. Not very good, and from quite far away. And the fairness rating of that result, was that a fair result? 94.38 out of 100. So yeah, pretty much it was a fair result. So first half, there you go. That's what happened in the first half. Clearly, I think in the first maybe 20 minutes, Millwall were a bit hesitant, bit feeling out Huddersfield, and then I think we kind of changed position or something, and then we actually started to go for it. But second half, look at that. What did they do in the second half? Nothing. It was all Millwall, and there you go. Absolutely steamrolled them. Moving on now to this. This is whoscored.com. It's the match report, and there you can see strengths. All of these strengths for Millwall. Strengths for Huddersfield? No, none. Weaknesses for Millwall? None. Weaknesses for Huddersfield? Couple there. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's the attempts on goal: 19 to 13, 11 to 10 open play, 8 to 3 set piece, and that's a 10% conversion rate. And there you go. Mostly going down our left hand side. Yes, I think Scott Malone in the game up at Huddersfield earlier this season had an absolute stinker. He was so bad, and I think that he came into this game wanting to play better, to show, and to do something. So I think it was designed for us to go down that left hand side, for him to redeem himself, as it were. There's shot zones, action zones, player positions. Okay. Okay. So let's move on now to match facts. It's a crowd of 10,792. That's not that bad for a midweek game. If you look at the club badges at the top, you can see the average rating for the players: 7.33 for Millwall, 6.43 for Huddersfield. So almost a whole 10% better rating for Millwall players there. No surprises to who the man of the match was. Saville with a 9.6 out of 10. They took one of the woodwork strikings off of him, because the goalkeeper got a slight touch to it, but effectively he scored 2 goals and hit the bar twice. He hit the bar and then hit the post as well. So yeah. So there's the ratings, and if you can look at this and see Huddersfield's best rated player, the goalkeeper, 7.6. Tells you all you need to know, doesn't it, when your goalkeeper is your highest rated player. But aside from a Saville score, we have George Saville 8.1, Murray Wallace 8.2. So there you go. Shots, we had 19 to 13, and this is how they were distributed. Ballard getting involved there with 3. Cooper surprisingly not, probably acting as a decoy. So Hafebi with 7. Possession wise, they had more possession than us actually. Okay. Pass success percentage. It's actually quite high numbers for us all around. There. Bennett 82. That's good for him. These numbers are quite good. Millwall. Dribbles 12 to 8. Okay. Aerials 1, 14 to 21. So that did one more aerials there. Lees with 9 for them. Tackles 15 to 16. Interesting. So their defense having a lot of tackles to make. Ours not so much. Just on our left hand side, really. Saville with 6. That's in. Yeah, wow. Corners 7-3. Scott Malone with 6 of those. Dispossessed 9-8. Okay. So let's have a look now at some more details on what happened there. So there you can see Benicophobe 9.58. So he's in the 9s. We got 2 players in the 8s, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the 7s. Bart Biakowski's 2 early saves, which kept us in the game, getting him up into the 7s there. So let's have a look. Touches of the ball. Scott Malone 81, Mario Wallace 80, George Saville 80, and big drop off to Billy Mitchell 70, and then an even bigger drop off to Danny Ballard 49. Moving on to offense. So shots on target. So 8 different players having shots. Benicophobe 7 shots. He was literally a man possessed. Obviously, he had a lot to prove. From the previous 3 games, not really doing much. Well, he was coming back from injury, so obviously he chose that game. Now, turned it on. That's a sign of quality, that you can be a player who can turn it on when needed, when it's due, when it builds up, and you're like, okay, I need to do it in the next game, otherwise, because it's been a while. So he did that, and he did it well. 7 shots, 6 on target, 2 goals. That's pretty decent, isn't it? So yeah, we've got all these players having shots, 3 players having shots on target there. Okay. Offside. Okay. Defensively, well, so there's George Saville with 6 tackles, Mario Wallace with 3, Malone with 3. Interceptions, Mario Wallace with 5, George Saville with 3. George Saville's defensive work there, look at this. 6 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 block shots. Absolutely outstanding from George Saville yesterday. Absolutely outstanding. Yeah. Clearances, Mario Wallace 4, Billy Mitchell, George Saville. Block shots, George Saville again, yeah, and Jake Cooper. Interesting, okay. Passing wise, so who had the most passes? It was Mario Wallace, then Billy Mitchell, then George Saville, then Scott Malone. Okay, interesting. But so in terms of accuracy off of the number of passes, you would be looking at, yeah, Billy Mitchell and George Saville there, the better passes of the ball in terms of output to accuracy ratio. Yeah, so crosses and accurate crosses. So Scott Malone 8, only 1 accurate. Chad Wallace 4 and 1. Mason Bennett 4 and 0. Okay. Long balls and accurate long balls. So 24-5 for Bart. That's not very good. Mario Wallace 7 and 0. Scott Malone 6 and 1. Jake Cooper 6 and 3. Billy Mitchell 5 and 5. Billy Mitchell there, stand out. Jared Wallace 4 and 3. Danny Ballard 4 and 0. Yeah, I do think the accuracy of the long balls does kind of drop when we play Benicophobe, because he's not that that type of player. He doesn't really want it in the air, so that's what happens. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is your team. There's your ratings, and that was an outstanding performance against Huddersfield Town, a team 17 games unbeaten. And we are now carrying on our own unbeaten run. Will we get to 17? It's possible. And if we do, we might get into that end of season tournament. And on that note, I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.